We use a bagger in the fall to pick up our leaves, and I typically put these in the beds mixed with just enough grass so that it breaks down properly. The leaves provide a source of carbon and the grass a source of nitrogen. And the microorganisms require a specific carbon to nitrogen ratio, about 30-1, in order to break things down. Otherwise, they will use the nitrogen in the soil, making less available for your plants. And this serves two purposes. One, it continually enriches the soil with organic matter. And two, there's enough left over in the spring to act as mulch for most of the growing season, which increases moisture retention and keeps the soil a little cooler. It also greatly reduces weed seed germination.
I'm ready for some compost in the garden very shortly. And so I really want this to break down quickly. And so it needs nitrogen in order to do that. It's got too much brown in it right now, too much carbon. Cold composting has its benefits. It's not nearly as high maintenance, but it is it's slower and it doesn't typically kill weed seeds. And so it's a trade-off, of course, like most things in life. I'm going to add some. This manure, of course, has quite a bit of nitrogen in it. That's the waste product of birds, and so good source of nitrogen for the garden, but it's too rich to put directly on, so you have to let it compost. And so mixing the chicken bedding and the chicken manure gives a decent carbon to nitrogen ratio, and so mixing that in here will help, but some really fresh green grass will really heat this pile up. So right now what I'm doing is just preparing, kind of blending everything in, breaking things and breaking any clods down, because that increases the surface area for the microbes to break them down. I had noticed that the pile was pretty compacted earlier, and so I loosened it up, aerated it, because I want the oxygen loving bacteria and microbes to break this down, because it'll happen much faster than in an anaerobic environment. So as this one breaks down, I will simply rake it mostly to one side, and I'll start putting fresh stuff over here. And then I kind of have 4 different groups going. It depends on how much material I have, what kind of year I'm having, and how often I turn it and how quickly it breaks down. But that's sort of my method. It's very crude, but it's very affordable, and it works. It really works for me. So, and it's really cute with the little birdhouses. Get to look out at the bees. My happy place for sure. So it looks like it's somewhere between 52 and 54 degrees. All right, so I will be back when we're ready to add the grass. Hey folks, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Today I'm going to be working in the compost. I'm going to be mixing in some freshly mown grass to heat it up so that I can use it for the garden this year. I cold compost, and so it's a very slow process, and I just need to speed things up just a little bit. So we are mowing, we are bagging the grass, which I don't typically do this time of year. We are doing it right now just so that we can get those fresh grass clippings. And so when we mix this grass up in here, that will speed up decomposition rates, and hopefully within about a month, weather permitting, this should be ready to use in the garden. So that's usually the way I do it, just sort of a lasagna layering. It's just slightly warmer than it was before I aerated and added the grass. It was about 52 to 54 before. I'll check back in a few days and record the results. So a couple days after adding grass to the compost, yeah, it's moving pretty quickly. And from what I understand, the research shows that 140 degrees kills most weed seeds, between 130 and 140. Let's check it in a few different places.
For comparison, we'll check the other pile that I turned the same day, same time, but added no grass. You can see the needle going down there. Definitely much cooler. The science of decomposition. Got storms coming our way today. Tornado watches, I think. Looks like the first set of storms are going to miss us, but we're going to get a big line of storms. I always feel like I'm in the movie Twister when I say stuff like that.